noticing those things or being impacted or thinking about those things?
I don't think they're looking at metrics. I think
Like
they
bubble
probably
watch.
see. I think they probably see stuff that's out there. It has to be on social media. They're not actively looking for it, but I'm sure some of the people that they follow on social media, they'll see some things, and I'm sure they have their own opinions. But it's not something that we have talked about.
Jeff, it used to be a given if you finished fourth in the ACC in any given year, you were in. We weren't sitting here talking about this. Why do you think that's changed?
Great question. I don't know. I mean, this has been a couple of years, and I think it's something we need to really look at as a league. The leadership in our league needs to really, and we all collectively need to take a really hard look, because we need to be able to get more teams into the NCAA tournament. More teams are deserving, but we need to take a really hard look and figure out how to get it back to where you're getting more teams in.
How do you prepare for a game where you don't know the opponent? Do you have a three-pronged scouting report this week?
Yeah, but we'll mostly work on us. That's the main thing. I mean, today will be the first day that we've been together since Saturday, and we'll just work on us. You know, try to get better. Hopefully, we're fresh, we're rested, and we'll practice here today. Travel down there, practice there tomorrow. Find out our opponent tomorrow evening, and then be able to really start to hunker down on who it is we're playing. But we're looking at all three teams. You know, the guys, my assistants, are each of them throughout the year. They're break down the scouts, and so they will have something prepared, you know, for whoever it is we end up playing.
Jeff, what was it like for you to play in the ACC tournament when it was in Greensboro, since it was so close to home and it was such a big deal?
When I was playing,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it was cool. I mean, I grew up, you know, in North Carolina. Basketball is like everything, and so when I was little, you know, really up until shoot, it was all throughout high school too. So it was for as long as I was in school. Like when it got to the ACC tournament, like you really didn't do anything in school. Like the teachers would pull one of those TVs in on the stand, and you know you'd watch it. If they couldn't get the TV with the stand, it would be over the loudspeaker. And so that's how I grew up. When my dad was an assistant at Wake, when I was in sixth through eighth grade, I got a chance to go to those games. I actually was a ball boy in the Greensboro Coliseum. So I got a chance to be down there on the floor, which was awesome, which made me dream even more about wanting to play in it. And having a chance to play in it was a dream come true. Now, during my 4 years in school, we never had much success in it. But the fact of, you know, being able to play in it and it being right there in Greensboro and knowing all of the unbelievable players and teams and coaches and games that have been played on that floor, having a chance to play on it was very special for me.
Follow up to that, with it being in DC, that's Ishmael Leggett's hometown. What's it like seeing the excitement through his eyes, and what do you anticipate it'll be like this week?
Yeah, well, it'll be, you know, he's right there from D.C. Bub is from Baltimore, which is right there. So it'll be, you know, pretty cool, you know, to be able to play there. I think anytime for these young guys, the players, to have a chance to play in a pro arena is always really exciting, really cool for them. And it'd be an unbelievable atmosphere. Washington, D.C. is an unbelievable city for basketball. They have produced and continue to produce some of the best players. It's probably, if not the best, one of the best high school leagues. You know, the DC Catholic League. You know, you have unbelievable talent, and so it's a place where they really appreciate, understand, and love basketball.
Jeff, go ahead. For Ish, obviously, when did he really grow into that sixth man role, and what was it like for you to see that he got rewarded?
I think when he grew, you know, when I think it was probably after the Syracuse game. I think it was after that, which was his first game back from injury, you know, from his shoulder. You know, he didn't play as much in that game. And I think coming off the bench kind of hit him, you know, in that game, that it was different. and having to adjust and your mindset and things like that. But I thought he settled into it pretty quickly. Ish is an unbelievable kid, and I'm really honored to be on this journey with him. He's had an unbelievable journey to be where he is right now, and to watch him not just buy into the role but thrive in it. And it helped us as a team. It's really awesome to see him be rewarded for that by being named Sixth Man of the Year.
When you make a move like that, move a guy that's been a starter, move him to the six-man role, how do you and your staff kind of coach a player through that process? How do you reassure him through that whole process?
Well, I think the main thing was, him still feeling value and understanding his value to our team. And then also telling them, like, you're going to play starter minutes. Like, you're still a starter. It's just something that I felt like was best for our team. When he got injured and didn't play in that game, I just really liked what I saw with Jalen and Bub together. It wasn't a knock against Ish. It was just something that I saw, the way the ball moved, having two primary ball handlers in there. Ish is a ball handler as well, but Ish is more of a scorer, where those other two guys can score, but they can really facilitate. I thought it also helped take some pressure off of Bub, where he didn't have to be the primary ball handler all the time. That can wear you down. And so I was thinking long term, for the rest of our season. And so just trying to explain that to him and have him to still see and understand his value is still incredibly high for our team.
Do you like moving the tournament out of Carolina once in a while?
Yeah, I think it's, being able to move and go to different places. I know when it originally moved to Brooklyn, there was some hesitancy, especially from the North Carolina schools. I know when I was there, I was coaching there when it was in Brooklyn the first time. I thought it was awesome. Now, I may have thought that because we won it, but I just thought it was awesome. It was in D.C. one year when I was back as an assistant at Duke. I thought that was really cool. I think it's good.
What about Pittsburgh?
Sure. If people will come out and support it, yeah, I think it would be great.
What does it say about your program to have back-to-back six-man of the years in Nike Spandy and Ish?
Well, I think it shows that, we have really good guys that are about what's best for the team. And, one of the things we try to talk to them about from the time we start recruiting them, and especially when they decide to come here, is to be a great teammate. That's the very first thing, like be a really good teammate and then become a great teammate. Nike accepted that role last year. It was difficult a little bit for him, especially early. And for him, it was different because he was coming off of an injury where he hadn't played in a year. He thought he was back 100%. He really wasn't as far as games and things like that. It took him a little bit to get back into the rhythm of it, but when he did, he was outstanding. And then our team took off because of that. Ish didn't have an injury where he missed a year. He had been a starter for us throughout and had been really, really good. I just felt there was something that was different. And so for him to buy into it shows what an unbelievable teammate he is. And, putting the team, I'm not saying putting the team first, but it's equal. It's him and the team. He understands the value of the team and what we need. But most importantly, he still understands his value.
Jeff, it was a historic first game for Bub. And how did you see him kind of handle the ups and downs of a nearly full season now? And what do you think he's learned from this?
Well, it's been an unbelievable learning process for him. The way he started the first game, he went from a guy that no one knew who he was to now all of a sudden, after the first game, but especially after the first four, he's blown up, into this, everyone knows who he is. And when you are a guy that you've never experienced that, like it's different. I've coached guys that they've been like the guy in basketball in their class from like ninth grade on. So they're used to the attention. They're used to everything that comes with that throughout the high school scene. That was very different for Bub. And then after the first four games, like his world changes. And then you take the next four games, he didn't play as well. then all of a sudden you're kind of knocked back. I love the fact that he's just stayed the same. Him personally, he has stayed the same. He never got too high. He never got too low. He just stayed even keeled. I think that's a testament to him, to his parents, to his family, to his support system. I think the thing that's been really cool is even when he started like that and he had those first 4 games, he still understood that he had to learn and he had to get better. It wasn't like, oh, okay, well, I've got it all figured out now. I'm the guy and things like that. He understood that this was going to be a process. It's really hard on these kids, man. I'm telling you, like, he went from a guy, again, that no one really knew who he was. When I say no one, we did, and maybe some of the recruiting people, but it wasn't like he was, supposed to be one of the guys, a McDonald's guy or things like that. And then all of a sudden, after the first 4 games, you look, he's in like the top 10 in the mock draft. And I try to tell these kids and these people, parents, like, don't pay attention to that. Like, it does not mean anything. As quickly as that, it can change the next day, the next week, and things like that. But it's difficult. But I'm proud of how he's navigated this whole thing and how he's playing right now.
The last 2 years, you've recruited not only good players, but good people. How many people do you have to talk to find out about a guy's personality when you really don't know these guys until you actually get to meet them?
Yeah. Well, you never know anyone until you're with them all the time, as many people as you talk to. You try to talk to as many people as you can around the kid. You try to spend as much time as you can with them during the process. One of the things that's been great the past couple of years is that we've been able to get them on campus. We went through I think it was about an 18-month period where we couldn't have people on campus because of the pandemic. And so it's helped to be able to be back out there, to get them on campus, to spend quality time with them. But it's a whole process that you go through, and we've been very fortunate to get really good guys.
Jeff, speaking of recruiting, how important is it to you to have a coaching staff that's diverse and reflects maybe the makeup of your roster?
I just think it's important to have a really good coaching staff. And I've been fortunate during my time here that we've had that. All 3 of the full-time assistants, when I say full-time, the guys that can go on the road, they've all been head coaches. They all have head coaching experience. They all played college basketball. They all were captains of their teams, and their teams were pretty good when they played there. So they understand it from a player side. They understand it from a coach side. All 3 of them, their fathers were coaches, so they grew up with it. And so the impact on young people is very personal to them. And then this year, obviously, we've been able to add 2 more coaches, and that's Kyle and Gil. Both guys played college basketball. Both guys have been in coaching, and they want to give back. Kyle's father is a coach. He was a coach. And so I just think it's really important to have good assistants, good people, guys that are about the right things, that are about trying to help these young people get better. We've been very fortunate to have that and to have the continuity with that.
The reason I ask, I have a colleague in Aaron Beard in North Carolina who's working on a story on, I think the number of black assistants in Power 5 conferences going up. I think the percentage is almost 60%. 10 years ago, it was around 50. And I guess is that something as a coach that you were an assistant 10 years ago, now you're like head coach, or the first person of color to have this position at this school. Is that something you notice when you look at sidelines? Do you see any sense of progress in terms of opportunities for black assistants?
Yeah, and for black head coaches. I think we have 9 in our league. It used to be for the longest time that, the black coaches were just the recruiters. You were charged to go recruit black players, to go into neighborhoods, to go into places that maybe, white coaches felt like they couldn't get into or didn't feel comfortable going into. I think we've certainly made so much progress since then with the opportunities and black coaches being seen in a different light, being seen for their mind, their X and O's, their strategy, not just being able to recruit or being able to connect with a certain demographic. So yeah, I've certainly seen growth in that from assistants and from head coaching opportunities.
But is that still important? contact, or does it matter?
It depends on the kid. It depends on the family. It depends on the situation. You know, I think it helps. I don't know if it hurts. You know, there have been some white assistants or head coaches that have been really good going in to get black players and going into different places. So I think it just depends on the situation, depends on the kid.
Jeff, I'm wondering if you've seen the news about Dartmouth's men's basketball team unionizing and if you had any thoughts on it, especially as it relates to the constant changing of the business of the sport.
I've seen it. I haven't really studied it. I haven't really paid much attention to it. So I don't know exactly where it will go. I do know that there's going to continue to be drastic change, or I feel like there's going to continue to be drastic change in college athletics. It's changing, and everyone has to be able to adapt to it, whatever the changes are. I don't know what they're going to be, but I know it. I know they're coming. It's a different day, and you know, I'm not old, but I'm not the young 27-year-old anymore. You know, when I first became a head coach either. You know, I grew up around the game. You know, from the time I was in sixth grade, I've been around college basketball, like deeply around it. You know, from my dad being an assistant to being a Division II head coach when 9th through 12th grade, and then obviously me going to college. It's completely different from back when I played. It's completely different from when I first started. It's completely different from when I took this job, you know, 6 years ago. And so you have to be able to adjust and adapt. I mean, you can sit and complain all you want about the old days and about the way it was, or about this isn't right or whatever. If you just sit around and do that, you're probably not going to be in it that long. So you have to be able to, you know, adapt and change to the climate and what's happening.
Jeff, do you think one of those changes is going to be an expansion of the field at some point? I know they're talking about going maybe to 72 or maybe.
Yeah, I think it. Yeah, I think it should. And I get some of the purists that you don't mess it up. It's at 68. You don't mess it up. You know, I wonder if people felt that way back when it was at 16. When it was at 16 and went to 32, it probably was a thing, but it got better. When it was at 32, I think it went to 48. Like I think it got, when it went to 48 to 64, like it got better. And when it went to 68 and you introduced the first four, it still was really, really good. And so I think it should be change. You know, I think it should be more opportunity. The NCAA tournament is the greatest sporting event. And I think if you give more young people opportunities to experience it, like what's bad about that? I've never understood the argument with that, because every time it's expanded, it's continued to get better. And so I do think, I'm not saying that you double it. I'm not saying that, but I do think it's time for it to expand a little bit.
I mean, it's such a revenue driver. I mean, you know, the TV contracts are worth a lot of money. If you add 4, 8 games, whatever, that's even more. And I would imagine, considering how much money is required almost to kind of run these programs and, you know, these opportunities, it sort of has to, right? Just to sustain itself.
I've never seen anyone not want to make more money, especially the NCAA, and especially all the lawsuits that they have against them. And so I couldn't imagine it not expanding at some point.
Jeff, all other things being equal, when you see a guy, you're trying to hire somebody, and you see he's the son of a coach, does that make your eyes perk up a little bit and say, I want to talk to this guy?
It doesn't make not necessarily that. I may feel like a kindred spirit, or maybe, you know, we have something in common. You know, when I was putting together my staff here, I didn't even realize that. Obviously, I knew my brother, you know, but I didn't even realize that. We were on a Zoom one time. This was during the pandemic, and we were doing our presentation, and I actually, for the first time, said it on the Zoom to the kid and his family. That's when I realized, like, my goodness, like all of our fathers were coaches. We grew up sons of coaches. We grew up, you know, with having the players at our house, and the players were our babysitters, and I know for my brother and me, we were like the ball boys for his high school team, my dad's high school team, and when he was in college at Wake, and we were always around the team. I mean, I remember vividly like hanging out in the dorms with Muggsy Bogues and the guys at Wake Forest, and I'm in 6th and 7th grade thinking I'm them. The first concert I ever went to was with those guys. I remember when I was little, like real little, I was telling my wife this the other day, like being with my dad's team at team camp, and I'm, hanging out with the guys, and my dad probably put me with them so he could go hang out with the other coaches, and I'm like watching movies I shouldn't be watching. You know what I mean? At like 6, 7 years old with the guys, and so that's been my whole life. That's why team is really, really sacred to me, because I've always been around them. I've always been on teams.
Who would you have babysit your kids on this team?
My kids are of age now that I don't need it.
Well, but if
Yeah, if they were younger. There are a lot of guys on this team, actually, that I would feel very, very comfortable with having them watch my kids. I watch how they interact with especially my son, when he's at camp or he's around, he's in the locker room, and how they interact with the other coaches' kids. I mean, we have a good group, so I would feel comfortable with the majority. I don't know if there's anyone that I wouldn't feel comfortable with.
Chase, I gonna win tonight?
I hope so. I hope so.
Gotta miss it.
Gotta miss it. I'll stream it. I'll be watching.
Last year, you guys seemed to really kind of come together as a locker room. So then coming into this year, when like new guys arrived, Ish and Zach and the freshmen, how did you see those guys kind of assimilate into the culture and the chemistry, and how did you guys kind of bring them in?
Oh, at first it's a thing you got to do internally, from the new guy's perspective. We do our best job, and when I say we, I mean this year just me, but the coaching staff does a good job is bringing in good character guys. That's what's gonna make this program work. They have to be good character when they show up. And I think that's what we did a good job. And then once they're good character people, they will see why it's going to be beneficial to buy in and trust the people around them, the players and the coaching staff. And I feel like that's how the bond works, and really trusting each other on and off the court, and then building a winning program.
That being said, what made Ish in particular fit in so well? How did that work so quickly?
Well, shout out to Ish, first of all, for winning Sixth Man of the Year. But there's something to be said there, because he was a really good player at Rhode Island, their best player. He comes here and he starts, but he understands that his role is more beneficial to us coming off the bench. And only good character guys, and same thing that happened with Nike last year. It's about having good character guys. See, if you don't have a good character guy, they're going to take it offensive of taking that role off the bench, and they're not going to take the position as serious as Ish and Nike did, and go win that award and take it seriously, and maybe even take it even more seriously to make it a point. I'm going to be the best bench player, not only for this team, but in the conference. So that starts with being good character, one, and just being a good player, second.
From your perspective, did he understand that right away?
Right away. I wasn't there for the conversation, but I mean, Coach clearly has a good spot and role for a six-man, clearly, as he showed. And, he buys in. That's all it is, just buying in.
Like, how have you seen Bob? I mean, triple-double. Then they're talking about him in mock drafts, and then, the ups and downs of the season. How have you seen him handle everything and grow?
I would tell my people all the time, me personally, I wouldn't be able to play that good as a freshman, but handle everything on the outside as well as he has. And he's gonna keep getting good. I mean, better and better at that, because we're gonna keep winning. So just moving forward, just hopefully he can keep up the same thing he's been doing all year.
Congratulations on your ACC honor, by the way.
Thank you.
I was just wondering, are you or anybody on your team NCAA tournament bubble watchers?
No, we're basketball players, so we don't spend much time doing that, as far as I know. But what we do know is you get in the tournament if you win games, and you get an automatic bid if you win the tournament. So that's what we do now.
Blake, were you shocked to see Jalen Lowe not on an All ACC team?
Yeah, yeah. That's pretty much as short as I'm gonna keep it. I mean, I respect the committee of who makes these votes and the coaches, but Jalen Lowe has a lot to do. What the turnaround this year's have like a lot. His fingerprint is all over that. So could have did it. I don't know why they didn't, but he definitely deserved a spot in there. He didn't get it, and it happens like that sometimes.
Like, what excites you about this time of year playing in a tournament setting?
What excites me this year, man? Honestly, what excites me is shout out to women's basketball all around the country this last week, man. It was super exciting, and it got me excited. South Carolina versus LSU, and even the game before Tennessee versus USC. California USC versus Stanford, is it? And I'm missing one. The ACC championship with Notre Dame won. Like all of that stuff was high level basketball, and that watching that really, really, really got me excited. Just the level of competition it was showed me what it's gonna be. So I'm really excited to go raise that bar and go touch that bar where the women set it at.
Jay, when you watch Caitlin Clark, do you sit there and see some of the shots?
Caitlin Clark. Sorry, I didn't mention that either.
You see when she takes some shots, do you get intrigued?
Yeah, heck yeah, man. And it's
I could do that. And
it.
you do that sometimes.
Yeah, it's funny because shout out to Iowa winning too. I forget who they was playing, but I meant to mention that too because Caitlin can't be not mentioned. But yeah, I see Caitlin Clark. That stuff takes practice. You're really good to do the things she does. So yeah, heck yeah, that stuff excited me. I went to the gym that night, like just watching it, getting excited.
Like it often gets mentioned that you were a standout football player and coming up and had scholarship offers and whatnot. Over the last 2 years you've been here, has it ever been brought up to you by maybe somebody in the football program here, like, hey, come down, do some workouts, or maybe even come and
Nah, I don't think Coach Capel was gonna let that happen.
would you? I mean, when was the last time you caught a football?
It's been a while. What I know, I mean, shoot, I feel like I'm one of the better basketball players in the nation, so I wouldn't spend much time playing football. But probably could, but I don't.
What if the Bucks called you?
Man, I would do just like that. I would stop and think about it. Then I would also say, I seen Aaron Donald at the game a couple days ago, and I would think about that as well and say no.
You guys have had Aaron Donald at a game. I mean, J. Cole was in the building a few weeks ago. Carmelo before a game earlier this year. What is that like as a player in this program to see all these celebrities coming through?
It's cool. I mean, sure. I mean, they want to see you play, so I guess it's a compliment. But it only happens when you win and be a team that's worth seeing and being around. So I appreciate those guys showing support.
Blake, on Saturday, your last game here, you were out on the court for about 20 minutes after the game, shaking hands, taking pictures. Why is that stuff important to you?
Man, because I mean, little do they know, I can't believe it. And just 2 years ago, when I was dropping off groceries at people's front door, nobody was asking for my autograph. So, I really like to take advantage of that type of stuff because you never know when it might be gone.
When you look at that journey over the last 2 years, how much have you grown as a person because of your time here?
I mean, it's made me the person I am today, and I really love the person I am today because I feel like I'm humble, and I really listen to people, and I try to learn, and it wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have went through what I went through.
These freshmen have obviously played in playoffs and tournaments and things like that before, but do you have any words of advice for these guys as you head into the ACC tournament?
Nothing. I ain't got nothing because they know what to do. It's March, and that's what I've been telling them ever since March started. It's March. There's really no time. There should be no motivating speech. There should be no, oh, I didn't know, or I forgot to play. We've been playing all year. It's March. It's time for your best to come out.
Has Ish been talking about going back to his hometown to play at all this week?
Say it again.
Has Ish been talking about going back to his hometown to play this week at all?
Oh yeah. You just now enlightened me of that. I don't know. I haven't heard him say anything about it, but I mean, hopefully it brings his best for sure. I'll take it.
Like, you think there's room for the tournament to get better, the NCAA tournament to get
Nah,
better?
nah. I like it's great size. It's perfect size. Some people get nipped out. Some people get missed, and that's part of it. That's what makes it exciting. So, man, I love the tournament. I think it's set up perfect.
Like you guys are the fourth seed in the ACC tournament, yet there's some outside talk that you guys might not have a quote unquote good enough resume for the NCAA. I mean, when you hear that kind of thing or see that kind of thing, what makes you think that people are thinking that way about the ACC?
I don't know. I really don't get it. I can go a pretty long time speaking on it, but this is a good conference. That goes without being said. Now, historically, the players in it are good. We have multiple projected first round draft picks in this conference. Um, yeah, we got. I don't get it. I really don't even really understand why it is the way it is, how they saying. But at the end of the day, the people who pick these teams, I feel like they know their sports and they know their basketball, and they're gonna make the right decisions.
Do you look at analytics, whether it's like rankings or anything like that? But I mean, on the floor metrics, PER, that kind of. Do you look at those kind of analytics?
I have no idea. That's a foreign language to me. I really don't know. What I do know is the teams that typically win get in there. So that's what I know. So all I preach is winning.
Ish, you're going to be playing in your hometown this week.
Yep.
Excitement about that at all? What are you looking forward to?
I'm super excited. I actually played there when I was 12 years old at halftime of a Wizards game, so it's kind of nostalgic going back there. Been to a couple of Wizards games, so that's cool as well. And yeah, I'm super excited. My whole family's gonna be there, so I haven't seen a lot of them in a long time, so it's gonna be nice to see them too.
Is there familiarity since you've played in that arena? People talk about shooting in the arenas. Does that give you an advantage?
Yeah, a little bit. I think I scored like 5 points, so that'll be cool. I definitely know how to put the ball in the rim on that court.
Ish, congrats on ACC six-man. When you go back to when Coach moved you from the starting lineup to six-man role, how did you take that, and how did you grow from that kind of move?
I think just putting the team before yourself was the biggest thing. My whole objective was to come here and win, and his plan was for me to come off the bench at that time, and I accepted the role, and I thrived at it. So just accepting your role, no matter what it is, and being the best at it is something I tried to keep at the forefront of each performance.
Would you say that was easy or difficult to accept right away?
It's a little mix of both, honestly, because obviously everybody wants to be a starter. Everybody wants to do X, Y, Z. But like I said before, just putting the we before me is something that is just, I guess, ingrained in me. And, yeah, it worked out. It worked out for the best.
In the game since then, you're still averaging like 30 minutes per game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So does it matter to you guys as much about like who's on the court for tip-off as it does like how much you're actually playing, like how you're still playing like starter minutes, right?
Right. Just at the end of the day, just coming out with a win is just the biggest thing, because nobody gets the credit they deserve if we don't win. So that was just our main thing, was just winning.
Ish, what changed, do you think, and how much of a role do you feel you played becoming that sixth man when you guys were 1-5, and then it started to snowball in the other direction?
Can you repeat that question? My fault.
No. What changed it? You guys were 1-5. You switch out to sixth man. How did you guys get on this role, and how has it continued?
We got on the road, and I think the road games, Duke and Georgia Tech, really got us comfortable with being on the road and figuring out what it looks like, what winning looks like, and then after that we just took off, and we repetitively did the necessary things it took to win each and every time.
You guys are the fourth seed in this tournament, but there's still outside conversation that you might need to do more to potentially get in the NCAA tournament. What do you say to that kind of thing, where you're in a power conference and you're a top 4 team regular season? You think, and people are saying there's still more for you to do. What do you say to that kind of thing?
Honestly, everybody's gonna say what they want to say, but me and the guys, we know what we have to do to win, and that's what we're going to do, honestly. We're going to go down to D.C. and take it one day at a time, one game at a time, and just chip away each win each day. And we'll be fine if we just take it one day at a time.
Do you guys talk about those things amongst yourselves?
About,
Like what your tournament hopes?
I mean, everybody's goal is to win the tournament, but for us, just looking short term, just keeping it like a day by day approach is good for us because looking too far ahead never ends well, and looking at the past at what we did, it really doesn't matter in the ACC tournament. So, one day at a time approach, and I think we'll be fine.
Ish, what does it say about Pitt as a program that you guys have now had two back-to-back six-man of the year, and what is it like for you to be part of that legacy?
It speaks to the culture and the consistency of the coaching and the players. Honestly, Coach Capel had a plan, and we executed that plan. And he's a great basketball mind, and we trusted him 100%. He trusted us, so that's the result of it. Two back-to-back 21 seasons.
How do you approach not knowing who you're going to play in a couple of days? It could be one of three teams by this point. Do you kind of keep your attention on each three, or how do you do that kind of thing?
I mean, we play all three, so we have a good scout. We have a good idea of what each team is going to do, and then our coaches, they do a great job of prepping us before each game, giving us pointers on who does what and ball screen coverages and XYZ. So the XYZs will be taken care of. We just got to go out there and play hard. That's the bottom line for us.
Ish, go ahead.
Well, when you first got here, we talk a lot about chemistry and culture here. What did you observe about the culture in this program, the chemistry in the locker room, and how they kind of brought you in?
It was tight-knit, honestly. It was like a brotherhood, and that's something I really appreciated because it just makes everything on the court easier when you know your brother has your best interests and vice versa, and you know the coaches, they have your best interests at heart. But I felt that on my visit, and I still feel that to this day, so that's just big to have with on-court chemistry and off-court chemistry. It makes things easier.
Ish, when you decided to come to Pitt, could you have expected or planned for the impact you would have had for this team? Did you think about that at all?
I wanted to come here and obviously win. I speak about that a lot, but I guess I could say, yeah, I'm proud of the impact I had on this team. I consider myself like a laid-back type of leader. I'm not the hoorah type. I'm more the lead-by-example type, and I feel like everybody is just came together for the greater good of this program, and it's showing each night.
How have Bub and Jalen grown as people since the start of this season, being freshmen thrown into the fire, so to speak?
Yeah, they've always been great. I said this before. They've always been great basketball players. It was just a matter of time for you guys to really see how good of basketball players they are. And they put that on display each night, and I'm super proud of them. Like you said, throwing the fire, freshmen in the ACC, and they took that head on. They were sponges. They wanted to learn. They wanted to know. They wanted to get every advantage they could before they stepped on the floor. And when they got on the floor, they just showed everyone that they belong here.
Were you shocked not to see Jalen Lowe on an All-ACC team?
Yeah, honestly, that was very surprising to me. I know the impact he had on our team, and not to speak on other guys, but I saw some of the other guys on the list, and it's my bias, but I also just speak very highly of J-Lo, and I think he definitely deserved to be on that list.
Yes, I know these are technically neutral site games, but you guys have been pretty good outside of this building this year. What do you attribute that success to?
Honestly, like I said before, just learning how to really win on the road. Like it's not easy to be in a new environment and bring that same energy, bring that same oomph every time. And I think we just really got the code and followed the code each time we got on the road.
When you talk about being like a tight-knit brotherhood, does that help you on the road too, that you're in an uncomfortable situation, you're away from home, you guys maybe like can lean on each other a little bit more?
Yeah, for sure. Because when we go on the road, it's kind of like a us versus them and their fans type of thing, and maybe even sometimes the refs. So we know nobody's going to have our backs but each other. So that's kind of, we really do lean on each other in these moments.